Bipod is nice, but it's very dicey. It's very dicey. You know, first and second is hard. It's hard. In this sport, it's hard.
But it's an easier bet than a pick six. You get two chances each day.
I'll be honest with you. I don't believe in bankers.
Okay.
I will not put a banker. And if there's a horse in a race and it's 4 to 10, I'll add something with it.
Just to back up.
Just to back up.
Welcome to another edition of In the Box Seat. Well, goodness gracious me. Where were we last week? We were at Precentor Place in Drummond with the Peters family.
Right, yes.
Jody and Sue Peters, whom you know very well. We missed you, but you were in the Bushveld again.
Yeah, boy.
Okay, well, we had a lovely time. But this time we're back at Hollywood Bets Gravel. We're in our little studio here in the Shorthead Restaurant and Bar, which is a fantastic venue on race day. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome our guest to the studio today, a gentleman who we've spent some time with already before recording this podcast, and my oh my, the conversation flowed. I'm actually so excited. I'm always excited, Andrew, for our podcast, but this in particular, to talk to Dennis Pierce, who's a racing lover and has been a racing lover for a long time. He's a punter, a racing enthusiast. He's come to join us today. And Dennis, warm welcome to you.
Thank you very much, you guys. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Tawanda, who's our producer, and Senzo and the whole team. I got the names right, eh? Look at that, Senzo.
Just for a change.
Yeah, nothing wrong with my memory, George. Dennis, so Tawanda approached you and said, come and be a guest with us.
Yesterday, I was at home and then I heard, Dennis, and then I go and stand on my balcony. There's Tawanda, and I've known him for quite a while. I know his dad too.
Yes,
brilliant guy.
Edward, world class.
A very nice guy. And he came upstairs. He says, "What did you call yourself? Are you from Greyville?" I said, "Yeah, we called ourselves the Greyville Boys," which is true. I've been in Greyville my whole entire life. I'm going to mention my age if you don't mind, if I'm entitled to do that. I'll be 74 next month. I've been racing for many a year. And he told me to come over that you guys wanted to interview me and ask me a few things about the July, and I'll bring some racing memorabilia, which I have done here now, just to show it to you. And yeah, it's been a long journey, and please God, may it continue. I love it. I love the game. I love everybody in the game, and I find it to be a fantastic, fascinating game. It's nice.
Yeah, it certainly is a fascinating game, and I'm glad that Tawanda, looked out the box.
Listened to me. Right?
Yes, well, you were the one, correct, that said, let's try and get a punter, some punters, and then we've approached one or two punters and racing public to come and join us, and a couple get a little nervous, and they shouldn't really, because it's not a slinging off show.
My wife probably knows they've been spending all the housekeeping.
But I mean, it's not a slinging off show, so it's lovely to have members of the public come and join us. As I've said to everybody, our podcast is open, and anyone's most welcome. But let me ask you the question, Dennis. Punting, racing, etc. How did you get involved? How did you hear about this gorgeous sport of horse racing? Let's go back all those years.
Okay, I'm going to go back a very long time. I have a half brother from a different father. His name was Brian Rackman, German, and him and my late stepdad's brother Johnny Kane, they were riding, but not here at Bushveld, riding like in Kimberley. If you guys can remember
Bush
Kimberley.
meetings, yeah, that was.
Bush meetings, yeah. For Barry Steenkamp.
Okay.
Mr. Barry Steenkamp. And then we as a family started to get involved slowly down the line, because, like I said, we lived in the area all our life. I'm just across the road from Greyville Racecourse, so if I've got to come out of my door to here, it takes me a minute or 2 minutes. And I can hear the roar of the crowd, etc. And yeah, a lot of us, my whole family, started in just slowly getting involved, because my late brother was involved in the game, and he introduced us to some of the old jockeys. I'll mention one, Shorty Delaray. If
That's
anybody,
going back a bit.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's Shorty Delaray was one of his old friends, and then we start punting. My first ever punt was at one of the most beautiful tracks in the whole of South Africa, and that was Clarewood Racecourse.
Yeah, Clarewood Park.
Clarewood Park. That was one fantastic track, and those days you weren't allowed to go in. There was a set rule by the then apartheid government. You got to be 18 before you can enter into a racecourse. So my late dad, which I have a photograph I brought to show you guys, was a flagsman. Okay, he was a flagsman at Clarewood Park, and he was a flagsman here at Greyville, and he attended a lot of July handicaps. That's when I was allowed to come in, I said, well, fine, I'm going to go in. I'm going to bring up one question that you guys will remember this. David Payne. Him and I, as families and their families, used to stay in the same area together. We stayed in Walls Avenue, they stayed in Ivy Road. When my brother got involved in horse racing, he approached David, and David's father said, no, I'm not going to allow him to go into horse racing. Convincing, David went into horse racing. Look at him today.
David's old man was
Jack Payne.
a painter.
Yeah, Mr. Jack Payne, correct.
House painter.
And his mum's name was Queenie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because I remember Duncan always telling me after David had a winner, so there was no celebrations. He said, my father never celebrated
100%.
after he finished painting a house.
100%, yeah.
That's the
But
job, yeah.
let's go back. What lovely, beautiful people. You know, it was a pleasure to actually be involved with type of people like us. We all got involved. We lived in a mixed area. It was beautiful, and people in the area loved the horses. In those days, you could go and punt for 50 cents. You could take a dupla. There was no swingers. There was no exactors. There was no trifectas. There was no quartets. You can just go and take a swinger for 50 cents, and that's how I got involved. And like I say, my first punt was at Clarewood Park, and I said to my dad, please go and take me a swinger, because I wasn't allowed in. I was 17 years old.
Sure, 17 years. And now on the 28th of March, you turn 74, which is just around the corner.
Yes, sir.
2 days before my mom's birthday.
Oh, wow.
So 28th of the 3rd, 1949. And as Andrew said, just missed the war, but your dad was...
My dad was in the Second World War, and he went to Alamein.
Okay.
He was up in Alamein.
You were telling us also about your very good friend Douglas White, and you and him went to St. Joseph's Church in Florida Road.
Dougie, what a fantastic guy. Dougie and I just clicked from the first day we met at church. And when he used to ride, I used to come here, he used to say to me, back this one, you know, and back this one. And I used to, you know, my mates come to me, what did Dougie tell you? I said, back this one. I said, do it at your own peril.
Never listen to a jockey.
No, absolutely at your own peril, because that's what it is. I mean, there's no such thing as a certainty in racing.
And in the 1966, him, the Jaffies, and Alec Lurd put us on the map for international racing, because they won that great big race up there in Hong Kong, which was on London News.
Yes, yeah.
And this is the photograph that Dougie White sent me.
Can you see? Oh,
Is it?
He sent me that from Hong Kong when he won on London News, and the top says, to a friend from the winning team. And I've had that all my life. And
Look how young Alec Laird looks.
yeah, correct.
Alex got hair in there.
Alex got hair.
Yeah, he has. I think I'm the only one, most probably, that has a little picture like that. And
Absolutely gorgeous.
Laurie and Jean Jeffrey.
Laurie and Jean, yeah. And those
Laurie and
famous,
Jean
famous
Jeffrey,
colours.
The London News, I think he won his maiden at Scottsville, didn't he?
He won his maiden at Scottsville.
Dougie
Dougie
aboard,
Dougie
I
aboard,
remember
yeah.
that day, as clear as daylight.
Can you believe it?
David Payne, this is a quick story.
Yes.
David Payne, when they won the July for Ferguson in full flight, we see David 2 days afterwards coming down the road in a beautiful yellow brand new Mercedes Benz. Hey Dave, where did you get that from? That's a gift from Mr. Ferguson.
Sure, okay.
Jump in, go for a nice little turn around the bend and all that, come home, back home. That's it, day was gone. You know what I mean? Then the following day, on those days, you people, as you know, there was no racing on Sundays. The government wouldn't allow gambling on a Sunday.
You talk about that. Remember those days when it was just Wednesday and Saturday, wasn't it?
No. Yeah, it was Wednesday and Saturday racing. Yeah, there was
and
no,
that was it. I mean,
that was it.
That was
Then
it. Obviously, KZN.
Yeah.
But
You couldn't back on Joburg or Cape Town.
No.
So I mean, nowadays there's racing every day except Christmas Day.
Except, no, you do get Christmas Day, but that's overseas.
Overseas, yeah. But I mean, so those days where it was, in your opinion, obviously the betting interest and the betting public has increased. So you need to put on the product for the punters to bet on. But
Yeah.
Do you prefer it in those days where it was a lot quieter and you had just 2 race meetings?
No. I actually prefer it now because you've got so much more to do. It's more exciting. You don't have to sit at home bored. What you're going to do, where you're going to go.
There's always something on.
There's always something on. But to those who can punt and do have the fun, it's not everybody does. It's nice to get out. Come and sit in the club with your mates and have a beer or something with them. I prefer it as it is now, and it's quite nice. Those days were very, 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 very boring, and the racing was, no doubt about it, was very exciting. It was very, because in those days we never had pens. Do you recall that? There was no racing pens, Warren.
Sure.
You know that? They used to do it. They used to have that tape.
Yeah.
They used to put the tape up, and the starter used to call them to the tape. And as they get to the tape, so even if you're at the back, my man, and you know what I mean, you're going to get left, and bang, the tape used to go up. It was beautiful to watch.
Jack Dallas was the starter.
Jack Dallas, correct.
He used to say, tries in front, cookies at the back.
Yeah, those tape days were nice.
But you also talk about your first time to have a bet, and before we talk about the first time having a bet, I just want to share with you my experience. You'll remember the 2 horses, and I'm sure you'll be able to elaborate for us. But going back to the bet types, obviously you talk about the financial resources. You've got to be cautious when gambling. We all know that. You just got to be careful and cautious how you manage the funds. But what I like is that it's affordable. Your minimum bet is R6, and your maximum bet is whatever you want. So even if somebody wants to take a place accumulator straight line for R6 once a day, it's affordable. It's an interest, So don't feel that you need to have millions and millions to own a race, also to have a little bet. I know people that spend R6 a race meeting that have just as much as fun as people that spend thousands of rands a race meeting. So it's.
And you get those guys that do the R6 punting bet win. Sometimes the guys with thousands don't win.
Absolutely.
I remember when they brought in the Pick 6, there was carryovers were big things in those days. And there was a big carryover, and the blokes thought, no, we're going to spend money here. They spent a bloody fortune on this thing. And all the favourites won. Didn't catch it.
But talking about old horses and memories of having your first bet, I remember my late father took me many, many years ago. My 2 favourite horses were, I can't remember the years, but you'll know when I give you the names how long ago it was. The Barbican and Sloop. And Sloop. Now, those were Pat Lunn's horses, weren't they?
The Barbican was Pat Lunn. Sloop was... Nicky Sherry used to ride them in those green colours.
Anyway, we used to go at the turn there on the road. We'd drive along the road, pull over in the old Ford Sierra, and we would watch those races through the fence, because obviously I wasn't allowed, I was underage. The Barbican and Sloop.
I remember that, the Barbican.
Yeah.
We've had some great horses come through our country and pass our land. Beautiful horses. You can sit there and name them, Andrew, Warren. You can go back to all the greats. I know quite a few.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I can remember one day, I'm still trying to think of this horse's name, and we always said, the jockey jumped off. Coming around the bend.
Making music.
Bert Abercrombie. we correct. That's right.
Tell us about the story.
No, they all said that he bailed. I think he was favourite to make music.
Correct, yeah.
I said, I can't remember the jockey's name.
Bert Abercrombie?
No, it wasn't Bert.
It was Bert Abercrombie.
No.
Maybe different races.
No, the name will come to me. But I was got it. Glass Buller rode it. in the same race, and he said, the bloke never jumped off. He said, you must be mad jumping off in that speed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can absolutely get into see. But
It was Ralph Rickson trained as well.
okay.
Yeah.
Now, Dennis, your hobbies. We're going to jump around in our discussion, but that's great. Hobbies. Tell us about your hobbies. What do you do in your spare time, and what did you do? You were a bit of a soccer player.
Yeah, I was a bit of a soccer player. I played soccer during my days. I was manager of a club when I used to work for Fidelity Guards. We had a club. I played for Park Rangers as a youngster. That's about the main hobbies I had. That, and I loved a bit of fishing now and again.
Okay.
Especially the shad season. I used to go down to Sunkist, sit there, catch some lovely shad.
There's none left there now.
No. It's all gone. Then we used to move down. I used to love coming down to the Blue Lagoon to watch the horses on the, doing the training on the shore. My passion was mainly horses.
Okay.
My passion was horses. I loved it. And just as a matter of interest, there was a stable, I'm going back a long time, on the corner of East Street and Ridge Road. I don't know if it was owned or Mrs. Bestell used to have a horses stable there. Today you see it's broken down, there's a block of flats, there's a little park. Nice little stable, housed about 10 horses on the main road.
Main road.
Can you believe that side road, East Street ran there, and there was a stable.
Musgrave used to be stables to Musgrave Road on that place. A place called Ascot.
Ascot,
Yes,
yeah, across the road,
Yeah, but also you proofread Mr. Orman Ferraris's book, and he speaks about all the stables were at different, as you say, corners of the different streets in Turfentine. You drive along and there was buildings and houses, then there was a stable. I mean, that was...
If you go out here now, you'll see there's that big building called Ascot. That was stables.
Stables, okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Your son, you say, is a professional soccer coach? Or
My son has his own soccer academy.
Academy, okay.
Yeah. And he is now, which I'm very, very proud of, he has been nominated chairman of the KZN under 13 soccer team.
Sure, okay, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
Okay,
he takes up the sides. They go to Limpopo once a year. He's doing now DC training for girls under 13. Brilliant. He trains at Sherwood Sherwood Primary School. I'm very, very proud of him.
Is he interested in racing at all?
No.
Not at all?
No. He's Damien, with Damien, he loves soccer. And he would take a soccer bet to punt. And only time he does punters on the July day.
Okay.
He likes to punt. And he's met jockeys like, used to live and die at my place, Warren Kennedy.
Okay.
Him and I were big mates. Warren and I were big mates. And then also his little youngsters, Nathan Dancer, Tyron Landon. And the first black jockey, if I'm correct me please, it was Denise Smith.
I think you're right, Denny Smith, yeah.
The first black jockey.
Where's Denny? He's in Dubai? Or?
Yeah, he's in Dubai.
I'll never forget, many years ago at Hollywood Bet Scottsville, now Hollywood Bet Scottsville, the Scarlet Lady restaurant, we were going in a pick six, and in the last leg, it just shows you how you learn. If you Dee's Dine always teaches me, if it's a field of 10 and you've got 9 horses, then you've got to put the field.
Yeah.
And on that occasion, there was a field of, call it 10, we had 9 horses. The only horse that we didn't have was Mike Pappas and Denacia Smith. 99, 100 to 1 and drifting. True's Bob, that's the one that got up in the last race to give Denacia Smith his first winner, pick 6 out.
They used to come and sit outside my flat. I wouldn't allow them all because they used to like their brandy. Sit on the pavement, and we used to sit there with Rocky Grella, Wayne Grella. I see Rocky's now the riding academy
Lovely
master.
Guy, Rocky.
Oh, Rocky.
Yeah.
He loved my daughter.
Okay. Dennis, what, from a punter's perspective, and Andrew, it's an important question to ask, what if I said to you, and you can't answer, can't solve all the world's problems, but what do the punters want? You're always in the totes, you're always at the race course, you're always amongst the crowd, the beautiful crowd that we're so blessed to have here in KwaZulu-Natal. What do the punters want? What are they looking for?
You know what I found out at the Greyville Tote Show? The punters go in there to make money. Everybody wants to go and to make money. And all they want is fairness. You understand? They want to be treated fair. Like if they go to the teller and say, can I have this and bet and this and that bet, and then they don't check their tickets and they go back and they come, but the teller says, you got to check your tickets before you go. I think they really want to see a more uplift in the service that they are getting, especially at some of these outlets, because it's not all that very kindly at stages, you know,
Yes.
and you know, price-wise, you know, we can't determine the price-wise. It gets done by the racing fraternity itself, what the horses backed and all that. I think it's more fairness that they're looking for.
Okay, that's a good point.
And on course?
You see, on course I've never really. I think on course might be. You know, I don't know how to even put this to you guys because I'm not one. I'll back in totes, but my bets are already taken. I just come on course to enjoy myself.
Okay.
To have a pleasure of sitting and watching the races and shouting my horse name, but my tickets are already been taken. So I don't know how these guys, when they go to the bookies and all and take their bets at the tote. Oh, occasionally I'll go there and I'll got a $50. I'll go and put something on. So I can't answer that question on how they feel on course. Yeah.
But do you go with friends or you go by yourself?
Oh, I go by myself. I love to come here by myself, and you know. But in the tote, I've got many friends in the tote.
Interesting observation. Your bets are taken early. Is that so that when you get to the races, you don't get swayed?
100%.
Exactly
100%.
Okay.
You know,
interesting.
You know, you go and you take your bets nice and early, and then you'll check if a horse is scratched, and you run back to the tote. Can I change this ticket again and give me another tote? But I put even for July Handicap Day, I take mine on a Friday.
Okay.
I will not come and take it on a July Day because there's no ways you're going to get in.
Sure.
I've had the experience years ago, and I said no.
Never
and
again.
I'll do my bets at home, sit at home, and I'll make whatever I got to make. Come shooting down to the tote, I got them back. I'll leave them at home. I won't bring them to the track. You know what I mean?
Bet mark cards. Let's look at some of those bet mark cards because that was so interesting as well. That was so interesting that you showed us those bet mark cards from ages ago. That's the
old one. There's the new one.
I remember those. Wow, they bring back memories. No wonder we'll have to take photographs again. But there's side 1 and side 2, and obviously this is now the latest, the new one. But you remember those, Andrew? It's clear. The red on that side, the orange on that side.
I don't punt.
No, don't be silly. Of course you do. You just don't punt that often.
and the one says there, because you know those days when the big totalisator board, there was no such thing as a swinger. Now you can box a swinger, you can get the first 3, and it was only a dupla. There's got to be first and second, or second and first.
Okay.
Yeah, and this one had the dupla on it. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I remember it was Scottsville who started the jackpot and the place accumulator, the Peter Marisburg Turf Club. And I remember you used to take your jackpot, and then they had to sit there and count the tickets, and you only got the payout the next day.
Sure.
That's 100% correct. He is very correct about that. I just want to show you this quick before we continue. This is my late dad. Shame. This is when he was a flagsman.
Wow. Okay. Sure.
How old is that? Look at the board behind him.
Sure. Look at that, Andrew. Isn't that a magnificent photograph? The old flagsman. There we go. Again, I'm sure Tawanda will take all the footage that he needs to be able to share these lovely memories with you. Wow. Fantastic.
Shame he passed on. May his dear
In
soul.
old days, there were no electronics boards or anything like that.
You know what the red flag was for? The chute at Greyville Racecourse. Now they've diverted it, so you go past the club. They used to come straight out onto the track. Now he used to stand there at the chute, and further down there was the big gates there that were leading onto the golf course. Now they've closed all that because they, you know what I mean. And so when the whistle used to blow, and he used to stand and wave the red flag, and that guy on the bottom used to see it, so they closed the gates, so no vehicles come across.
I see you got some lovely pictures of your grandkids on your phone. How many grandkids have you got?
Oh, these are absolutely divine. My 3 little grandchildren. I think you know, when you look at these children, and you say, oh my God, I love them to bits. There's my 2 little ones at my.
Beautiful.
I'll show you that.
Keep Granddad on his toes.
Hey, Warren, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. I'll show you the main photo here on my screen here, quick. Oh, there they are.
Sure. Beautiful. 3 beautiful.
Thank you. They're lovely.
Yeah, absolutely.
This little guy is a terror. He's a terror.
Dennis, what I wanted to ask you, you said with regards to the on-course experience, you know, from the punter's view, you sort of, but from your own personal experience, when you come here, you're able to get something to eat, you're able to get your bet on.
Oh, no doubt about it.
The vibe, I mean, I know it's not always busy, but we're lucky we've got the punters and
Punters are
K's
coming
to
back,
come to
yeah.
the races, yeah?
No, I've never had a problem coming onto the track and coming up for a meal, or going to the lightning shot there and
Yes.
having a beer. No, I've never had no problem regarding that.
We must have served in the old days. The July, 100,000 people, yeah?
Correct. So what you do is that you go in there and you buy your 6-pack and you put it one side. Goes into a nice ice tray box, and the guy
Dennis has got the answers to all our problems.
The guy at the bar knows us very well. Please keep my 6-pack so you don't have to keep on running and now and again. You paid for it, it's already been paid for. You just go.
In the old days, I mean, there were the punters would be at Grable for the July. They packed in from the finishing post right down past the subway.
Hey.
And they were bloody 40 deep. That's how many people were here.
Yeah, I used to, lately, but it hasn't happened anymore, I used to go up to Mr. Andy Williams. You know Mr. Andy Williams?
sir.
Him and I are good mates. I used to go up to his box on July days. He used to come and park at my flat and then
Walk across.
We used to walk across because it was much safer for him. Him, his wife, Larry and all. It was quite nice. But,
Andy
yeah,
Williams?
He's around. I saw him just the other
Andy's
day.
still around, yeah.
Where did I see him? I think in the Cape. Yes, I think at the Met. The world's was better.
Yeah, you went up to the Met.
I think
yeah.
I did.
A
That's
nice
where I
guy.
saw him. Yeah, absolutely.
Very, very, very nice guy.
Knows his horses absolutely.
Yeah.
But the crowds, as you say, in those days, sure, it must have been
Magnificent.
magnificent.
You know,
and it's obviously just because the totes and everything's online now.
Yeah.
So are you happy to attribute it to that? That's why.
yeah,
I'm
you don't,
exactly the crowd-
you see, our Julys are not so packed anymore, but now they might be because the COVID is lifted.
Yes.
You know, last year, you come to the July and it's not so, only 30,000 were allowed, etc. Whereas sometimes 50,000 come onto the,
Yes.
Well,
onto
this
the,
year will be 50,000.
Yeah, this year
Oh,
we're going to
yeah.
have a big one. We've already started. They've already started planning. Gold Circle in Hollywood. It's going to be a big one this
Oh,
year. But
wonderful.
sorry, I interrupted you when we were talking about Andy Williams.
Yeah.
If you finished with Andy, we can move on.
Yeah, no, we can move. Andy's a good hook. I
Yeah,
like Andy.
top, and he knows his horses. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, hey, for sure.
Dennis, in racing, and we were discussing it again earlier on, Andrew and I, before we came into this podcast, whether you're a trainer, whether you're a jockey, assistant trainer, television presenter, commentator, bookmaking clerk, whatever you are in racing, money is involved, we know that. But emotions are involved too, and the general public can get very vocal, and they're entitled to get vocal because everyone's entitled to an opinion, but we seem to sometimes get a little nasty and sometimes have a full go. Why is that? Why do you think that is?
Look, I don't want to sit here and think, oh, I'm better than you guys or better than any of the punters, but I've never experienced that emotion. Okay, at home if I say, oh, I've lost this bet, and then I'll cuss a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah, but I've never really, experienced it directly on a race course, or meet the friends, and you know what I mean. Some of them will get out of hand, and
Yes.
oh, I was told this horse from that guy, and the other day there was a big argument in the pub because the one guy told him a horse, and the horse didn't come, and then there was fisticuffs. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, that's like Andrew and I were just talking. I'll listen to information, but it's my peril. I'll take it if I want to take it.
Well, let's jump straight to that, because the next question I was going to ask you, we were going to ask you, is about, we all exposed to information, tips, call it what you like. You hear from a trainer, this is working well. You hear from a jockey, this is, I think, will be a good run. So how do you handle information that you get? Do you treat it as gospel, or do you just use it as a guide? Do you ignore it completely? How do you treat information?
I won't ignore it. I'll look at Andrews quite a lot in the paper.
Shame, is that why you're still working there?
And then what I do, this is my little secret, and I'm going to share it. When I get the Daily News or the Mercury every morning, I'll open up the page and I'll Cape Town, Warren Inferno, Andrew, Greyville, David, Thistleton, Turfentine, and then I'll look at the speed ratings
Right.
of a horse, the best time and the best average. I always look at that, and then I'll go to my tab form and I'll look and I'll say, hang on, look at this horse's ratings, look at that weight. I do a little bit of studying, I really do. Look at this horse's weighting, weights, and is it the same jockey up on the horse? If it's not, why have they got this jockey up? No blinkers, elements taken off, cheek pieces, headgear. That's where I where I go. And if I come on the course and I meet you and I say, hey, Warren, what do you like this horse? And you say, oh, you heard it's got a good chance. I'll take you up on that. And if it doesn't come, I'm not going to come to you and say, oh, you know what I mean? I'll never ever do that.
Sure.
As again, it's my choice. I can do what I can do.
Absolutely.
And I've known quite a few buddies, which I will not mention name, that, oh, you know, this gives me a tip, and it's a lot of nonsense, and I you know, why must I listen to him? I'll never listen to him again. next meeting, hey, my buddy told me this one. Which one? You know, the one that told me the horse last week?
But yeah, it's important that we drive out that message that, like yesterday, for argument's sake, when Raheel and I were presenting out of Hollywood Bet Scottsville, we gave as much information as we could about the first timers. Garth Puller, for argument's sake, was spot on. Paul Lafferty's information was spot on. But at the end of the day, as Paul Lafferty said in his interview, he said, you know, there's no such thing as, it's hard to say a first time is a good thing, stand in the queue. You give your information, and it's entirely up to each and every one of us to make our own final decision. If you want to go with the graft or the information or the tips, as you call it, go with it. But if it gets beat, you know, it gets beat.
You can't
absolutely.
Don't come back on me and tell me that, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know, and as you know, Warren, we are not trainers, we are just punters. Okay, you're an owner, and surely you get some information now and again on how your horse is, because you're entitled to. But like for me, Andrew and I, you know, when the horse is doing very, very well at the track, and then you'll see, especially in Cape Town, that, what's that young girl's name? She used to be an ex-jockey.
Vicky Minot.
She used to be she interviews a lot of them, and then you'll hear like, the one I really and truly believe in, is Pete Botha.
Okay, yes.
I really and truly believe in Pete Botha's information. He's always spot on.
Yeah.
And in Fairview, now, John, now, they are spot on. Now, they'll say, oh, the horse has been doing very well at home. It's top. But when it comes to the track, it's a different horse altogether.
Yeah.
You know, there it's racing against company. It's got people roaring. You know what I mean? Is it has the same ability that it had at home? Because when you're on the track, no one's screaming and shouting at you. So,
sure.
You know, it totally, I'm sure, my own opinion, I'm sure it has an effect on them.
Absolutely.
When they at the track, it's got to have an effect.
Yeah,
until they can get used to it, you know. My first time at the track, the next time I come, I'm going to look around, I'm screaming. People are screaming, shouting, and
yeah. And I'm just glad that Dennis drove home that point about, you know, as much transparency as there can be. Whatever we get, we disseminate to the public. But at the end of the day, the decision lies with each individual.
Yeah,
even me, even you know.
Most definitely.
Most trainers are optimists, otherwise
Sure.
they wouldn't be in the game.
Sure, absolutely.
But they rightfully think that some of their horses are better than other people's horses, whether they're good judges or not is, you know, you find out soon enough when you punt them. But yeah.
And you know too, if you look at it, take the scenario like this. You guys know more than what a lot of punters know. Trust me, because you do studying, you work with jockeys, you work with trainers, you work with owners. Like me, I don't. A lot of the guys they don't know.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's very, very vital to look at your information.
Yeah.
Study it, look at it, and say, hey, this Andrew, fine, yeah, I like what he's just told me, and Warren, I like what he just told me. You know what I mean? I'm going to put it in. Or I don't have to put it in.
Well, you know,
But there's a good story. It says the more you know about racing, the less chance you've got of winning. Right?
Yeah, it goes like that. It goes like that.
But you get confused. Yeah.
But you know, I always enjoy talking to and you too, and whoever of us are on course. I love talking to the public, you know, and
Yes.
considering, you know, as long as everyone's civil and respectful, that's all you ever ask for. And a gentleman at the Durban North Tote the other day came to me, elderly gentleman. I thought, oh goodness me, I'm in trouble. I've done something here. I've tipped him a wrong horse on TV or something. And he came to me and said, I just want to tell you something. I said, what is that, sir? He said, the other day you chose a horse as a value selection. He said, I didn't even have it in any of my bets. And he said, that value selection won. He said, and because of that, I won a bit of money. And I just thank you. I nearly kissed him because I said, normally I get, you know, but that's just one good story. There's been times where I've lost my own money.
I would have asked him for my chop though.
Because, you know, we also punt, you know, we also put our money down. We also get upset when we do our cash, but it's part of the game. And it's always, as Sheldon says, and you were chatting to Sheldon a moment ago, great form studier, great tipster. And as he says, whatever we share is given with a good heart and with a
Yeah.
good intention.
Yeah, of course it is.
If it was always right, we would
Yeah.
never have to work. But now, the show's about you, not about the general public. It's about you. How, in your opinion, what would you like to see us as Gold Circle, or us as the racing industry, do to try and improve the race day experience? I mean, is things going okay? I mean,
Yeah.
what would you like to see?
Yeah, it used to be, go back years ago, you used to feel that there were certain prizes given away to punters, winning, losing tickets,
Yes,
you put
yes,
in a
yes.
box and you, give him a voucher for, it brings back the public again, because, if you got a ticket, you got a chance.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And spin that wheel and say, well, winning ticket chance. That brings a lot of enthusiasm back to the punters to gain too.
How would you feel, Dennis, if you walk through the gates on a race day? Maybe they can't do it every single race day, because I know I experienced it at the World Sports Betting Met. But if you walked through the gates and you were handed a 10 Rand betting voucher and said, go and
Wonderful. Yeah. They used to do it years ago, yeah, I'm sure. And as you walk through the gate, they used to give you a race card.
Because yes, of course, it is going to cost money. Of course, it costs money, but that 10 Rand comes back.
It goes back,
more than unless
No, because you can't do nothing else with it. You got to take that.
Take a punt.
you got to take.
You got to take a punt with it. So it's not a win-win situation.
Sure.
No, it's gonna. The club is gonna get it back. I think that'll be nice. Punters would enjoy it to say, "Wow, look at this! Hey, you're coming. You're getting a nice 10 Rand voucher.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go and take a 10 Rand swinger or whatever."
That win if you lose competition. That one bloke that he buggered it all up,
Why is that?
because he took about 50 or 60 tickets,
Yes.
losing tickets for 6 Rand, 6 Rand, 6 Rand, 6 Rand, and every draw he pulled out a microwave, TV.
Oh no, but don't worry. I think they've worked around there, because you can only win once now. I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
Or if it's a big prize.
I was
you only
here.
win
I was
once.
here the one day when a guy by the name who stayed in our block. He won a voucher from Bush,
Oh yes, yes.
500, and his name was pulled up again. You said to him, no, only
Yeah,
the only one, and that's
fair.
fair.
Absolutely. You
of course.
talk about fairness. I
Yeah.
think that's only fair.
Yeah, he can put in as many, but then you also got to watch it. Now he puts them in. Maybe he puts different names. They'll say,
yes, yeah.
Andrew, you know what I mean? So you got to.
Absolutely, yeah, there's always the tricks of the trade
Always
out
the
there.
tricks of the trade.
But again, anybody who would object to saying, well, you should only be able to win once. I mean, that's fair. Let everybody. There's
Yeah,
enough cake
give
for
everybody
a
everybody
chance.
to
That's for
eat.
sure.
Everyone's trying to
everybody
earn a
a
living.
chance, yeah.
Everyone's trying to win a buck. Everyone's trying to survive. And I think we've got to be
East Island,
respectful of
will
that.
tell you this little story about me. I was up in the box with Andy. This was now about 5 years ago, but maybe 6 years ago. There was a competition, maybe you guys were here, to win a plot of land out in Belita.
Yes, that was some time ago.
Can you remember that?
Yes, yeah. With
Now, there was only
Elan Marketing.
Elan Marketing. There was only 5 nominees, only 5 people that were drawn. Now, I didn't know. My name got drawn, and all of a sudden I get a call. Dennis. I said, oh, this, come quick. You've been drawn for the finals. I said, wow. I get down here. The guy says, are you Dennis Pierce? I said, yeah. I showed him everything. Took us upstairs. I think it was yeah. Took us upstairs. Hey, we had a beautiful table set for us. You know what I mean? Lovely meal, lovely gifts. They gave us some beautiful gifts, all the finalists. And then they drew the final one. Unfortunately, I wasn't the final one. There was an old Indian man sitting to me. His ticket was drawn out.
Wonderful.
But
Okay.
just to have that feeling that you would, and the plot was 750,000 Rand.
Sure.
And I still got the ticket at
losing
home.
ticket.
Okay.
The losing ticket at home.
Okay.
I've never
Geez,
thrown
that's
that
a
away.
lovely story, Dennis.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Elan
Dees
Marketing
Dylan,
got
ask
it.
him. He phoned me.
Okay.
He
Dees,
said,
yeah.
come quick, Dennis, you're in the draw, you're in the
And
draw.
what a great man, Dees
Dees is
Dylan.
right.
What
Hey,
a
look at
champion. Your favourite bet types? Do you like to, like I do, go through them, as you say to me, I go through the menu? Do you go race by race? What's your advice to the punting public? How do you structure your bets?
I structure my bets on a daily basis. Like just before I've come over here now, I went to go and take my bets for
Turfies.
the turfies, yeah. And I love to play exactas.
Okay.
I love exactas because you got a 3-way chance of getting them. Quartets, I'm not too on quartets. Then of course, I'll play the bar pot and the place accumulator.
Okay.
But with the PA, I like to take a straight line.
Yes.
I don't like to take a percentage because, sometimes you take a PA in favours come up pays R1,
Yeah.
2 rand, and you got what are you going to get? 50 cents back.
Reminds me of the first PA that I won was Kenilworth, Cape Town, when I was a student. And those days also, you only got the dividend the next day.
That's true, yeah.
But R2.60.
Well, you talk about like that, the first bar pot, when this new bet came out, the bar pot, I'll never forget it. I was driving with my dear mother in the car, and of course listening to the commentaries and all the rest of it, and I said, Mum, she said, can you take me here, can you take me there? I said, you better just make it quick, because I'm about to win this big cash on the bar pot. She said, what is this bar pot? And anyway, driving along, and last leg, I pull the car on the pavement, and in the bar pot, she says, I said, we've won a fortune, don't worry, I'll pay for the shopping. Of course, get onto the phone, have a look. I think the bar pot paid R6.95. I got it 4 times or whatever it was. She said, I'll biff you. You've made me on edge the whole morning, about the whole day about the bar pot. But anyway.
Bar pot is nice, but it's very dicey. It's very dicey. You know, first and second is hard. It's hard. In this sport, it's hard.
Yeah, but it's an easier bet than the pick 6.
Oh,
much, you get 2 chances each leg.
I'll be honest with you, I don't believe in bankers.
Okay.
I will not put a banker. And if there's a horse in a race and it's 4-10, I'll add something with it.
Just to back up.
Just to back up.
And Dennis, on the nose, would you have a win bet if you fancy something?
Yes, I've done that. I've had a win bet. This is quite some time. I used to listen to my good mates. Those days they were honest. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say anything about our boys today. You know what I mean? That'll be bad. But I used to listen to them, and I have a bet on the nose, yeah. Or another guy that's also sends me some good information is Simon Zaki.
Craig's dad.
Yeah, I'll show you on the phone.
What a lovely guy, Craig Zaki.
Yeah.
I believe he's coming back.
Oh, really?
Craig Zaki, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just saw the article. I haven't read the full article on the Sporting Post, but I believe he's coming back.
I nearly got into big trouble one day with Craig Zaki, with Rhys Nivenes, when he was a riding master there at...
Rake Neverhays or Rhys van Wyk.
Rhys van Wyk.
Rhys van Wyk, yes.
So, Craig was not allowed in the club, so his dad comes along, so we're sitting on the veranda outside, and it got a bit windy and all that, so Simon says, hey Dennis, how can we get Craig inside you, man? Now upstairs there's a big flower pot, big silver flower pot, so one of our mates, I said, go and distract Rhys van Wyk, because he was looking at the door. I said, turn him around so he faces you like... Hey, and he turned around, he's spoken to him. I said, Craig, come quick. Hey, we took Craig and he sat behind the flower pot. He was so small you couldn't even see him.
Oh, no, that's a lovely story. Okay, so that's the bet types. And when you come to the races, obviously you want to see the horses. That's what it's all about, the horse flesh and standing there. Do you monitor what's going on in the parade ring? What do you look for in a horse? What do you look for at the races to give you confidence?
What I look for in a horse, I look for the stamina in a horse. First thing I look for in a horse, Elamites.
Okay.
I like to see if a horse is wearing Elamites. Okay, I don't know much physics about a horse, but I just love to watch him. How he performs in the ring. Is he looking around? Is he got his head tucked in, And how's back fetlocks? Is he a strong type? I was told one day by a certain friend of mine that if a horse starts wagging his tail like this and all that, it's not interested, and which is true. Now, he owns a couple of horses. He said, just watch the horse, look at it, see how nice, and look, you got to see the proudness in the horse.
Yes.
You have to see when it walks around and it's like I own this ring, and the best thing is watching it go down to the start.
Okay.
When he starts giving that beautiful stride, and you know what I mean. He's not running short. He's not striding out short, and then you guys on the upstairs, you and what's his name, your friend?
All of us. There's Raheel, Dees, and Sheldon.
Hey, this horse went down very well. Did you notice how you went down well? And you've already picked that up, and you say, okay, bang, I'm going.
I'll tell you, a horse has got a lot of presence in.
Yes.
It's Charles Dickens.
Oh, that's beautiful.
He struts around in that parade ring like he owns it.
But you know what's so interesting is talking to a couple of people that have seen him. He walks around the parade ring and then he stops and he just looks. And he said, "In my time, I'm here. It's my parade ring, and you can't right. I own it, and there it tells. There it tells. Captain's Ransom, another one. She'll be walking around, boom, and she just
another beautiful looking horse. I'll never forget. It was called Politician. You remember Politician?
He was my horse.
Wow. Hey, that used to parade in the parade ring. Yeah. Hey, Warren, that was a looker for you. Eh? Hey, you could see the coat was beautiful. It was shining. goes down to the start, there's no sweat. Eh? And the boy just sits there proud. He knows the horse is good, and you won't work it out. You'll just sit and take his time. A good horse, that politician. Eh? Hey.
Dennis, any superstitions as a punter?
Yes.
Share them with us if you're happy to.
Yes. I'm going back in time again. I know a lot of trainers and owners didn't like the colours green.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yep.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
But
And-
yet they run on green grass sometimes.
Yeah, and yes, they run in green grass. And one thing I don't like, especially with our local commentators, and I don't think any punter, well, I'm not talking for punters, I'm talking for myself, is when you hear our commentators saying, and now we wish you the lucky last.
Okay.
Don't bring that to me.
Okay.
I get totally switched off. You do not wish, well, especially me, a punter, luck. Okay, that's one of my biggest superstitions. You know, when you come onto the court, hey, I wish you luck, brother. I say, oh.
As they say, that's the river.
That's the river.
Yeah, that's the river. Okay, so they must have
Yeah,
like
and just mainly those two. But anything else, I'm not really superstitious about the game. Like I said, I love the game tremendously. It's just those things like, I wish you the lucky last. I told Dees to stop it one day. I think he stopped it.
Don't worry, I'll stop it too, because I sometimes say the lucky last, but we get so used
Yeah,
to
you
saying
get carried
it,
away with it.
But talk about that. We were in the parade ring many years ago. We had a runner in a feature race, and somebody was with us and didn't know racing much, and everyone's on nerves, on edge, and she says to the jockey, all right then, well, all the best of luck to you. Good luck. I just called her aside. I said to her husband, I said, do me a favour, please speak to her and say, can't say that, don't say good luck.
No. Jockeys don't like that, you know.
No,
They don't like
it.
it.
Anyway, okay, well, you're not really superstitious, eh?
Me, I'm terribly superstitious.
Are you? So if you had a bet, what don't you want to see or don't you want to hear?
Nothing really. So that's it.
You know, for me, if I'm watching a race, and there's two things. If my cell phone rings during the running of the race, then that's normally not good for me. Although I laughed the other day because I was lying on the bed over the weekend, my wife next to me watching the race, and phone ring. I said, I didn't even look at the phone. The phone rang and she said, ooh. I said, yeah, ooh. And I looked, because in case it's a family member who needs help. So I looked up and I saw it was somebody I didn't need to speak to. So I put the phone down like that. And she said, ooh, I know you're not happy now. I said, no, I'm not happy. And they still had about 800 to go. Anyway, the horse romped home. She says, well, I guess that throws that theory out the window.
That's
Yeah. And the other thing is don't ask me during the running of a race, what have I backed? Oh, that could be the worst.
Oh, that's another one. Hey,
So what have you backed? What are you shouting for? That's the river for me. But anyway, we've all got our little superstitions. You've never been an owner, Dennis?
No.
Any desire to be an owner?
Back in those days, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I had an opportunity, and financially I couldn't. It was a nice horse. Those days when there was Pat and Mike Riley still training, you remember them? Do you remember
Ashburton days, yeah. The mayor of Ashburton.
them? Yeah,
Ashburton boys.
Ashburton boys, yeah, Pat and Mike Riley, two brothers. They couldn't stand each other. Whoa, they couldn't, really. And they wanted to give me a share in the horse if I had the finance, but it would have been. But yeah, no.
I suppose every time you have a bet on a horse, it's like you've got a little share in a horse. Anyway,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
And in all the freaking years I've been coming to Greyville Racecourse, I've never put foot in that parade ring.
Well, we're going to change that. We need to change that for you. Please, the next time you come to the races, wear a pair of long pants, because we can't have short pants.
Well, I always wear long pants.
Of course you do. But
And no
please,
t-shirt.
Please, Dennis, the next time you bump into me, or you bump into Dees, or even Tawanda, let's get you in that parade ring.
I would love to. I would love
You're
to.
most welcome.
I would love to. Just as it's been my dream for many, because I respect the rules of the club. I do respect them. Don't just walk in there unless you're not an owner or part owner. But yeah, I would love to just go in there and see the horses parading around, while I'm there.
Okay, we've got a deal.
Yeah, thank you.
We've got a deal.
Yeah, I'll take you up on that.
A gentleman the other day came downstairs. He said, I've been in the Durban View. I said, fantastic. His first time here. I said, oh, fantastic. Enjoying it. He said, I love it. The best Durban curry. Fantastic, sir.
Yeah.
He said, I've just got two things for you, please. He said, I want, for the future. I said, okay, well, how can I help you? He said, A, I want to go into the parade ring.
Yeah.
B, I want to photograph with Rachel Venica. And I'm going to give you time. I understand it's going to be difficult, but will you organize that for me? I said, difficult? I said, not the future, now.
Now, wow.
Into
wow.
the ring he went with me.
Wow.
He couldn't speak. He was so. Rachel, I said, I'm sorry, Rachel, to disturb you with your owners, but this is this man's dream. This is this man's wish. He was so charming. Took the photograph. The man couldn't stop thanking me.
Oh,
That's what
man.
it's all about. So
That-
we've got a deal.
We got a deal.
In the ring, we're going to have a glass of orange juice.
Lovely.
I can't drink champagne on duty, but
Lovely.
you certainly can.
Lovely,
And,
thank you.
we'll-
I can speak to the jockeys. I know most of them. I really and truly know most
You
of
come
them.
in with me, but
You
as I
know-
say, remind me because I'll forget.
Can you remember this year, last year when Richard Ferry won, I think it was the Natal Breeders or Com Naidu on a horse called Auntie Lizzie.
Yes.
And I know Richard, because Richard's a good fisherman. I'm standing outside the parade and I've seen him walking with this beautiful little trophy in a case. So he looks at me, I said, gee, this looks so nice in my cabinet. He gave it to me.
Amazing.
Now I've got that, and I had it engraved, now it's sitting in my show cabinet. I said, it's got the two dinners from Richard Ferry, Auntie Lizzie, trainer Com Naidu.
And that's what this is. So these are really special. That's the way it should be.
And
really special.
Kevin, Keegan DeMella, oh, what a lovely chap.
Yeah.
Keegan is a nice guy. People don't believe it.
Yeah.
When he won his 120-foot race, I'm standing there with another Indian chap. So the Indian says, give me that. He says, no, Dennis has won. And I got it. I got that one. I got one from Richard Ferry, one from Serena Midley, and I got them all hanging up in my lounge.
Yeah,
but now the kids have claimed them, so I said, you go ahead.
The kids have taken over. Dennis, transparency, because we always talk about transparency in the game, and we're not going to debate it for 1 hour, but do you feel that it's, compared to the old days, that it's improved a bit? I mean, you see that.
Definitely. Everything that's happening today has improved a hell of a lot. Transparency in the old days.
Okay.
You can't go against anything wrong, but yeah, it has different lovely colours. You've got lovely colours in the game now. There's more nice jockeys that have come in, and it's nice because it's a total mixture. It's not just one colour racing. It's a lovely total mixture of jockeys together.
And the information that the clubs put out, the operators put out, sort of the form guides and things like that.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, they're nice because the computer form has been going for many years, and that's accurate, eh?
But you take reference to the race goer, the Mercury Daily News. I mean, that's
I love that. I buy my paper. I got a stack of newspapers at home, just on the race goer. I love that, and I look at his a lot too. I'll say, hey, I've never met Andrew, but one day I'm going to meet him, and the dream has come true. I've seen you on the track.
You see.
I didn't know who you were.
Smile.
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know who you were. I've seen you in the parade ring. I don't know if you led in a horse or whatever the case may be, or what you were doing
He
in
was
there.
going for the champagne bottle.
Oh, okay, fine. And yeah, I love following the information I get in the race papers. It's quite nice. It's accurate. It's lovely. I don't know who's all printing that. Where's it coming from? Because they must take a lot of time doing the best athletes at time. You know what I mean? The speed rating.
Yeah, but it's still, if the computer needs us to run to give the information.
Put the input
Absolutely.
in there. Yeah. No, I enjoy that.
You talk about friends and racing. Please get that list out and rattle off a few names, because those that are, and I don't have to keep justifying what I say, but for those that are from the old days, the old era, some of the names on here I do know, but I've never had the privilege of meeting. It's a long list.
Yeah, but
share with us
I'm
a couple of names. Your old friends are racing.
Okay, my late brother used to ride for Joey Joseph. Uncle Joe. Hey, what a legend! Uncle Pat Antelmi, very nice guy.
You tell me he's a bit frail now.
Yeah,
what a wonderful man, and his wife and Eric.
Shame. They're at church every Sunday at St. Joseph's Church. We'd go to the 9 o'clock mass, and he used to be active. He used to be going around in the church, but now he sits. He can't move. Yeah.
Well, Eric will be watching this, I'm sure. Eric, and to Pat and your mom and the whole Anton family, because Eric still loves his racing.
Oh, I know he does. Eric and I are good mates.
Good boy, Eric.
Yeah, and of course then you go back to Uncle Fred Rickaby. Hey, that was a nice man. Pat Shaw was also a very nice man. I could go down the line, but we're not, because. And as for jockeys, Bertie Hayden, Dougie White, David and Mark Cavey. You sure you remember those guys? Like I said, Shorty De La Rey, and of course my friend David Payne, poor Peter Dillon. We all know what happened to him.
Shame, yeah.
It was very, very sad. He was a lovely jockey. There was a nice boy,
Nice
friendly.
guy. Lovely family too.
Gary Verne, Vince Curtis, Mace, Michael Roberts. The one day at Scottsville, I hope you're listening, Michael. The one day at Scottsville, they're coming out to shoot. Jeff Lloyd in front, Michael behind him, and I'm standing there. I said, Mark, hey Mace, how's this one, man? He says, too much weight. I said, okay, thank you. You want to know what happened, eh?
One by hard held.
One by hard held. Anyway, yeah. And there's old Anton, Jeff Lloyd, Sean Cormack, Glenn Schofield, Billy Harvey. You won the first July handicap for Pat Antomy on Gondolier. Then, of course, Bobby Silverite, Raymond Rhodes, all these old guys, Basil Marcus, Anton Marcus. What's ever happened to Anton?
I spoke to him on Christmas Eve, and he was still upbeat and lovely to have a conversation with Anton. In fact, we were on the phone for about 40 minutes. I was on holiday and he rang, and it was lovely to catch base with him. He's still seeing a few specialists and getting a few opinions.
Was that for that kick under the jaw?
No, vertigo, I think. Yeah. So Anton, what a great human being, what a great jockey. And he certainly, please God, one day will be back, but I haven't got an update since Christmas Eve that I don't know.
Just keep him in our prayers, that's all.
Absolutely.
And the commentators, the best that the country ever had was Ernie Duffield.
I didn't know Ernie.
Machine Gun Ernie.
Why did he get called Machine Gun Ernie?
Hey, he had a rattle. He was good. And we never had television, so we used to get our little portable radios, East Coast radio.
Yes.
Switch it on.
They used to have that jingle they played before. Listen
to race by race. And then, of course, the two brothers, they used to play soccer with us. Very, very nice guys. Eric and Trevor Denman.
Okay.
Well, they immigrated.
Trevor revolutionized race schooling.
How is Eric?
I
wasn't well.
No.
Have you not touched base? Because
No, I haven't
got
seen
dementia.
Eric for a while.
Shame. Okay.
Last time I saw him when he was at the club with us.
Shame.
He's got dementia.
Is he in a home?
He's in a home.
Oh, shame.
Oh,
Well,
man.
we'll keep him in our prayers too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then the last one, of course, the legendary, and he's such a good commentator, is Craig Peters.
Absolutely.
I love
Yeah,
Craig's calling. I love Craig Peters' calling.
Yeah, well, Craig and Sheldon, both of them very good callers.
Yeah.
Very different callers, but certainly very different callers, but very great callers. And lucky to have them in KwaZulu-Natal.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. They and then Cape Town, that Ravon Smith, those got a voice among none. Hey.
Dennis, tell me, see Cottage quickly, because our time's running out. But see Cottage. When he got shot at Blue Lagoon, you were obviously there. Well, not there, but you remember the day.
I remember the day. Yeah, I think it was a Friday, if I'm not mistaken, in 1966. The guy that shot him stood on the bridge and hit him in the rump. Hit him in the rump, yeah. And that year he raced in the July handicap and he was favourite to win. And we all thought that he got up on the line, but the photo showed different. He dead heated with Fred Rickaby's horse called Jollify.
No, that was the year after he was shot.
That's my apologies. A year after he was shot, because he
ran fourth with the bullet.
That's right. He ran fourth with the bullet, and my apologies on that. And he dead heated with Jollify. What an exciting day! Oh, that was a brilliant day to watch. Hey, man.
I'll tell you a story. Old Dave Thistleton, he was writing a story on that one thing, and he went to the bridge to see where Johnny Nell stood and all that thing. He got mugged.
Oh, goodness gracious me. Yeah, that's funny.
We shouldn't be laughing, but it's funny.
And I just got one more thing here. I've kept my old July book, and just to let you know, the first 6 past the post. I'm sure you all know that.
Refresh our memory, please.
Right? Okay.
What year was that?
22. This last year.
Okay.
Let me just see if I can find the page. I kept this just to show you guys that. Yeah, well, I'll put it. I've got to wear my eyes, my second set of eyes.
Why are you looking for that result? In your opinion, if I said to you, it's hard. I know it's hard, but we say you've got one choice, one horse. Who was your all-time best?
Oh, my all-time best definitely was the best I've ever seen was Sea Cottage. Okay. I loved Sea Cottage. I actually I actually cried.
Okay.
I was still a young man, and I had tears in my eyes when I heard he got shot because I thought he was gone. And I wasn't the only one. There was so much sadness within the racing fraternity. And there was joy when they caught the perpetrator.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
okay. Now this is how I saw Sparkling Water.
Yes.
He finished first.
Yes.
Jet Dark finished second.
Right.
Second Base finished third. Do It Again finished fourth. Comedy Ding finished fifth. And Asterisk finished sixth.
Unbelievable. First 6 years. That's top quality individuals there. Of course, Jet Dark now and Comedy Ding.
Oh,
and the Stallion.
that's gone to stud now, eh?
Yeah. Dennis, my oh my. There was one other point here, but I can't read my writing, so we'll just have to come back another day for that. But all I can really say, and Andrew and I can say, is wow, it's just been such an interesting hour. When I say to our guests the podcast is going to be about an hour, they look at us with big eyes, but we could have gone on for another 2 hours,
Yep.
Please believe me. But sadly we can't. But thank you very much for your time, and thank you for your stories and just your love and passion of horse racing. That is the most important thing, and at your good age of 75, we wish you many more happy, healthy
Thank you
years.
very much.
And just lovely to be with you at the podcast and to see you at the races.
We'll see you in the parade ring.
Yeah, we will see you.
Oh,
at the parade. Please,
I
that's
can't
just
wait for that.
as I say, remind
I
me,
can't wait
please,
for that. I will
please
certainly
remind
do
me.
it.
Unfortunately-
Otherwise, my friend Joe will remind
Yes,
me.
well, even Tawanda can take you, and if I
Yeah.
can't get you, and I know Monday we're racing at Hollywood Bets Greyville, maybe you'll be here, but unfortunately I won't be. I have to attend to.
I've got a babysit from 2 o'clock every day. One of my grandchildren.
Okay, well.
On a weekend, if it's a
we'll
weekend
get that
meeting.
right.
Yeah.
We'll get that right. So please remind me. And thank you very much for everything. Thank you for your positivity, your support of the game, and we
Yeah.
wish you and your family all the best.
Thank you, and likewise, same to you guys. And it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. And you want me back again? No hesitation. I will certainly come back again.
Thank you
They
very
say
much.
by the grace of the good Lord.
Thank you.
And
Dennis?
just one more thought to all those jockeys that have lost their lives. May their dear souls rest in eternal peace.
Yeah, absolutely. Amen. Indeed. 100% correct. Okay. Before we go, we've got to do some promotions. And the first thing that we want to talk about is the QR code. There is a QR code that will go up on screen shortly. A promotion. There's a promotion being run. Scan that QR code. You know what a QR code is, don't you?
No.
You need to brush up. Don't they have internet in Ashburton?
Lucky I've got a telephone.
The QR code, you scan that with your cell phone, and that'll take you onto the Tab Gold website, and that'll help you open up an account online, and you'll be able to follow all other promotions as well. Then, of course, we've got Card Call. You've heard Dee's, Dinant and I talking about Card Call, and all the other colleagues about this bet that takes place every hour. So don't forget to get your Card Call bets on as well. And then, of course, there's Score 6 and Score 10, as you can see by the shirt I'm wearing. Andrew seems to have lost his shirt. He's three
Keep on
warnings
fit.
now. 3 times you've come to the podcast without your sponsored shirt. Next time you're out.
That's cool.
Score 6 and Score 10, he's not out. He's an integral part of this team as Andrew Harrison, my bushy head friend. So Score 6 and Score 10 soccer bets, get those on as well. From Andrew Harrison, Warren Lenferner, Dennis Pierce, Tawanda, and the whole team behind the scenes. And we wish you all the very best. Stay safe. And as always, we'll see you where, Andrew?
In the number 1 box.
Cheers.
Boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of In the Box Seat podcast right until the very end. And we hope that you enjoyed it because we certainly did. If you missed last week's podcast, In the Box Seat podcast with Andrew and myself, please go and watch it here. And last week's episode will be right there for you to go and enjoy and watch, as we know you will certainly enjoy In the Box Seat podcast from last week.